Further ado, let's go straight in to a Tottenham update. And first up, we are going to be talking about Mr. Micky van der Ven, as The Athletic are reporting that Tottenham want to tie Micky van der Ven to a new improved long-term deal this season, and it's seen more important than any transfer in this January transfer window.
Right.
Do you think it's more important to tie down Micky van der Ven than any incoming transfer?
No, not right now. Would I say Micky van der Ven is more important to the team than any incoming transfer would be? I probably agree with that. I wouldn't want to lose Micky for sure, but
not even for Rodrigo?
Maybe for Rodrigo. Maybe for Rodrigo. But in terms of him, how long has he got left for? 2.5 years or 3 years?
Yeah.
Do I think that's more imperative this window than tying down a transfer that we need to upgrade in? No, I wouldn't, because he's still got a few years on his contract. It's not like a desperate situation. But obviously we don't want it to drag on. Obviously we want it to tie it down. We want his future secure. He's a massive part of the team, and he's now one of the sort of vice captains. He's a leader in that dressing room as well. He's established himself as not just one of the leaders in the team, but one of the best centre-backs in the league.
Some even say that he should be the outright captain.
Yeah, you could argue that. I mean, but I don't think that's going to happen while Romero's here. But he's an unbelievable player. So I think it's important that his wage reflects his status in the squad. I understand, since he signed, he's on less than 100 grand a week, isn't he? So
yeah,
that needs to change.
He's on 90.
So that needs to change. He needs to be on at least, maybe on par with Romero, or maybe a bit less, something like that.
Well, there is another report here that says Tottenham are looking to accelerate contract talks in the new year. He earns 90 grand a week, and they can expect to roughly double his money in committing his future to the club. So that will put him on close to pay parity with like Akuti Romero.
Yeah, which he should be, 100%. So hopefully he can agree a deal. It doesn't have to be in January though, does it? You can sign a deal anytime. So yeah. I don't understand why that would affect anything when it comes to our January plans.
It doesn't.
So, but why are they comparing the two?
They're just looking at it as a very high importance. I don't think they're saying, oh, well, signing Micky van der Ven means we can't get this player or that player.
Yeah, but it makes no sense to even put that in the same sentence. It's seen as more important than making a new signing. Why does that make any sense when it doesn't have to be in January?
I think it's just journalists just putting an emphasis on it. I don't think they're actually thinking like it's going to potentially hamper any of the January transfer plans or anything. It's just maybe just a coin of phrase.
Fair enough, but I don't understand what they don't have to do in January. He can sign a new contract in the summer or any time between now and any time ever. While he's under contract, he can sign an extension. So it shouldn't really affect anything that happens in January. But yeah, obviously, I hope he signs. Do I think he signs right now? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, then again, does he want a couple? If he's thinking, look, I am going to stay for the next few years anyway. And I'm quite young. I've still got a long time ahead of my career. I might as well get a lot of big payments. I might as well get close to 200 grand a week, because even if I want to leave down the line, that's still an option, even if I sign a contract. So I wouldn't rule it out. But I think right now, I guess if I'm him, I'm waiting till the summer. And if we're in Europe again or whatever, maybe I sign. But if we're out of Europe, I think big question marks.
Yeah, look, I completely agree. If I'm him, there's no chance I'm signing right now at all. All right, let's move on and let's talk about Ali Gold. He's been talking about potential departures, and he says that players will be allowed to depart for the right price, with Brennan Johnson and Radu Dragushin both looking for game time and having price tags that have not fallen. If Dragushin departs this month, then Spurs are expected to bring in another centre-back through the doors.
Yeah, which... Obviously, Takai was also on the bench. No one didn't mention him yesterday. Yeah, when it comes to Radu, I liked his cameo. We spoke about whether he needs the game time or not, which we all agree he does. Obviously, it makes sense. We need another centre-back because we need 4, but then that completely rules out Takai as an option in a way. If we're saying he's not good enough. So... It makes more sense to loan him out and then keep Dragushin around, I would say. But I think going on a centre-back search right now is is something that we could do without, I would say, because we've got so much to do. Going for a centre-back on top of that, do we want to add problems? But I understand Dragusin as well. He wants game time. He's come back for a big injury. He wants to make sure he's getting the game time so he's back up to speed as quickly as possible. And that's difficult for him as well.
Yeah, look, I think I completely agree with that. I mean, we've just got so much to do, so many key priority positions that we want to bring in, central midfielder, left wing, left back. Just let Radu stay, man. The thing is, he might want to leave, and if he wants to leave, then it's a whole different question, isn't it?
But do you trust Takai, or do you...
If he wants to leave, I think we have to bring in another centre back. I mean, if they're already not considering him and they're saying we're going to bring in another centre back if Dragusin leaves, that tells me that he's not good enough, he's not ready, they don't trust him. So you have to bring in another centre back.
We have to keep Radu around then. Doesn't make sense to me to let him go if we don't trust Takai.
Yeah, that is the reality. But if Dragusin is, hell-bent on leaving and really wants to leave, and you can't...
And then we'll start with the same issue. What kind of centre-back wants to come in and be fourth choice?
Yeah.
Unless we get one on loan, but it's not going to be a good one.
Yeah.
So unless we go big for Guehi, but he ain't going to come right now. He's got bigger fish after him.
Recall Ashley Phillips?
Vuskovic apparently doesn't want to be recalled. So I would just try and convince Radu to stay.
All right, that's Radu Dragusin. Let's move on to Brennan Johnson, as Mark McAdam says that Bournemouth are interested in Tottenham's Brennan Johnson along with Crystal Palace. It's unclear whether Spurs are willing to sell Johnson or he could potentially leave on loan in the January transfer window. Tough deal to make happen, but one to keep an eye on. And Alan Nixon says a potential bidding war is brewing as Bournemouth are joining the race to sign Brennan Johnson, who Crystal Palace are also pursuing. A little bidding war going on here for Brennan Johnson. I mean, he came on last night in the away end, absolutely lapped him up, songs throughout where he was on the pitch. So I am starting to think, similar to you, that it's probably worth keeping him around, to be honest, because he's a player that knows where the back of the net is, not like many of our other players.
As I say, I think
he gets more minutes than Matisse Tell
at the moment, exactly. And I thought what I like about Brennan anyway, in for example yesterday, late in the game, he can stretch it, he's got pace, he's a bit more obviously direct than Kudus, he'll run in behind and look to be a goal threat, which is good. But I also understand that he's definitely an upgradable player. We can all agree on that. He's not a player who you don't think there's better out there, for sure. So if we get good money and we're going to sign someone else, that's fine. But I'm just thinking from a squad planning point of view, selling him in January doesn't make too much sense. I think if you're going to sell him, probably sell him in the summer when you've got more options available. I think it just, unless the whole thinking is we're only going to sell him once we have a better option lined up, and then that point of view, that's fine. But the options are drying up at the moment.
Yeah.
When it comes to who we can get, and then we're talking about, we'll get into the other options, the more established options, but. The only realistic options at the moment we're seeing are like young players, 19, 20, who are, again, probably going to take some time to develop or, not going to be the finished article right now. When it comes to ready-made players, they're at a premium and they're in very short supply. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying Brennan is an elite ready-made player, but he is a player who's ready now to contribute. We know that. Yes, he's upgradable, but he's a player who is not in the development stage. He's a ready-made player. So we're getting rid of one potentially. What I'm thinking is we're getting him out for potentially another potential player. I mean, who are we going to sign who's a ready-made player right now? I don't know. But you've seen it many a time, haven't you? When Spurs are linked with this one, that one, and we go for someone completely different. So, but in terms of Premier proven, it's tough to see. Semenyo's out of the question. Savinho's out of the question. So who is it?
I can't tell you.
Unless it's literally someone from really left field like Leao or Yildiz or something incredible, which I don't see as coming as well because of where we're at. I don't know. I think I just got this feeling we're going to be left really disappointed like usual, but we'll see. But in that sense, yeah, I think don't let go of Brennan until you have someone lined up would be my point.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But,
would you sell Brennan and bring in Lookman, as Tristan is saying?
No, I don't think I would.
I do think Lookman's a better player, to be honest.
Lookman's decent. He's a good player, but
they're different. They're very different players.
To let Johnson go, I want to sign someone who we're going to be convinced of for the next couple of years or next 3-4 years. You know, someone maybe not. Someone that could be like a mainstay in the team that improves our first 11. And Lookman might be good for the short term from now to the end of the season, but I think ultimately we're going to probably want to upgrade on him in a years to come, or you know what I mean. So I'll probably just keep Brennan Johnson around until we can find that upgrade.
The only thing with the Brennan is that there is an opportunity right now to sell him in terms of Palace are very desperate. Bournemouth are completely out of form. Are they willing to throw a bit more money that they wouldn't have thrown in a different situation, if you know what I mean? So maybe is there a chance to get more money than we could from Brennan in other situations potentially?
Yeah, but look, how much of a difference is it really going to be in terms of how much we're going to bring in now or in the summer? If you're going to leave yourself short or, you know, lacking in even more quality, then I would take the hit on that kind of money. So look, we'll see what happens and we'll see what players come to light. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, Sade has been mentioned in the past. I think.
Yeah, he knows him.
Sade was linked to us from what's his name, the Bayern journalist Florian Plettenberg.
Yeah,
a few months ago.
Yeah, been a big topic of conversation, Sade.
So would you take Sade over Johnson?
I think they're very similar players, to be honest. I think Sade might be a bit better, to be honest. So I don't think it's a massive upgrade or anything, but I think he is a bit of a better player. So yeah, why not?
But also he's more comfortable on the left and Brennan's more comfortable on the right. So anyway, let's talk about the wage structure, people. Everyone loves the wage structure at Tottenham, obviously. With Alistair Gold, he says that Tottenham are expected to push up the ceiling on their wage structure in order to compete after years of having to rule out targets who wanted more than they could offer. But they are also not the most attractive proposition right now for big players. And that is a big problem that Spurs face now. Because, you know, we can talk about all the money that we have in the world and upping the wage structure and, you know, £150 million war chest. But what good is that if we can't attract top players?
Yeah, 100%. Especially in January when you're in the middle of the season where it's already, even if we were able to attract good players, it's already difficult to get players out of their clubs right now. So I agree. I think it's all well and good wanting to up your wage structure, but it doesn't really help you in this window too much. In the situation we are, if we were up there challenging, then maybe it would help us. But right now, when you've got bigger clubs looking at the players, just because we offer a bit more money, it's not going to make the biggest difference right now. Obviously, we can still attract good players. I think we saw that in the summer. We were able to get some good players in. So it's not. But so it's not. I think. Obviously, in the summer, it was a different situation. We had Champions League football to offer, and obviously it was a bit unknown what was going on. Frank just starting, all that kind of stuff. So it's a easier sell. Right now, you know, everyone's seen how we're playing, what the position we are in the league, all this kind of stuff. And it's tougher to sell, oh, we're on the right track, than maybe on the summer, where it's not necessarily, oh, we're on the right track, but it's more like, look, we can build a good team here. We're in the Champions League. We got that to offer, and there's potentially a bright future. Right now, I'm not saying that's not necessarily true, but it's just a tougher sell.
But it's still you can still sell someone a project, and especially if you show ambition with the kind of players that you want to go for. But we're going to be in the same pool. If you're talking about being in the same pool as players going at that Arsenal are looking at, that Liverpool are looking at, that Man City are looking at, that Chelsea are looking at, like these teams that can offer pretty much the same wages as we're potentially going to be looking to offer. I mean, there's only one place that they're going to go, and it won't be Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, you would say 5 places they're going to go.
Yeah.
And not Tottenham. Yeah, that's why I think we have to be smart. I think, to be honest, this has always been our problem. This is not like a new thing. Our problem has always been that we are shopping in the same pool as these other big clubs, and we don't have as much pool as those big clubs.
Yeah, but the difference was we had a big wage structure then, right? There's the report here saying we're looking to smash that wage structure and being able to attract players that maybe we couldn't attract before. But those players are not going to come to us because those players are going to go to the bigger clubs.
Right, but that's always been a problem, apart from the wage structure. That's always been a big issue. So we have to... This is why I think people when people talk about this window and how it's going to save us and whatever, or we have to act big, we have to act all this kind of stuff. You're setting yourself up for disappointment because first of all, it's January, so it's already difficult, and second of all, look where we are in the league and look how we're playing. It's not going to be easy to get what these kind of fans want in the window in terms of we need ready-made, we need top quality, we need world-class talent. Ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. We're gonna have to be smart in this window if we're gonna have a good window. We're gonna have to get players who are a bit undervalued in the market, who we see a lot of potential in. That's our best way forward, because any ready-made player that we get is not going to be of the required quality, in my opinion. It's going to be very difficult to get those in. Someone mentions here Njai from Everton. Yeah, maybe he's one.
You know, I've been very impressed with Njai this season. I think he's a really good player. He is one that potentially, if you sell Brennan Johnson for 35 million or whatever it may be, and bring him in for probably cost double that, you know, would you be? I'll be happy with that.
It's fine. He's fine. I think he's quite similar to Kudus in a way. So you're getting a similar profile, but that's fine. Whatever. He's a better player, so I'm willing to bring him in. But yeah, sure. I'll take Ndai. But I'm saying it's there's not a lot of options. Is my point. So we have to be very smart in this window if we're going to have a good window, instead of going big and like thinking we're going to sign like the biggest players. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I don't mind us going for it. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the fans' expectations that we're going to have this crazy window. I think we should temper them.
Do fans actually think we're going to have this crazy window?
People
this
calling
January?
in, we're going to have a big January. If Frank gets what he wants, he's going to turn it around. I think this is my point. Like, I think Frank, by and large, he's going to have to work with what he's got at the moment. I don't think he's going to get saved in January.
I think it's like next to impossible that happens.
Yeah, that's why I'm. People calling in expecting massive things to happen and massive changes to happen in January, I think it's not. I think it's unrealistic.
Yeah, I agree with that. But anyway, let's move on and let's talk about something more realistic, and that is Adam Wharton.
Oh yeah, here we go.
As Dean Jones says that Tottenham are interested in stepping up their pursuit. They're only interested in stepping up their pursuit of Adam Wharton in 2026. Tottenham are very keen on Adam Wharton and are willing to pay a big fee to get him. Wharton is viewed as having an ideal profile for Spurs, and the club will look to position itself in front of any negotiation should an opportunity arise.
I'd love Wharton. He's a perfect player for us. The player will
Literally.
listen. I mean, how much is it going to take to get him out of Palace right now in January? Maybe we're prepared to pay it, but even on that eventuality, is he prepared to come? I'm sure when he just takes on face value, yes, Tottenham upgrade from Palace and, bigger club, but he knows that bigger clubs are looking at him. Maybe not right now, but if he waits 6 months, Liverpool, City, all these other clubs going to put money on the table for him. Why would he be in a rush to come to Palace? He's doing quite well as well. Palace in Europe. He could win another trophy this season. Like, does he want to give that up? He's got a good thing going. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty in Palace. I'm not saying he's going to be there long term, but jumping at the chance to come to Tottenham in January, I don't really see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Spurs do end up going for Adam Wharton, I think it'll be more in the summer. There's going to be a lot of change at Palace in the summer with Glasner leaving, potentially Mateta leaving. Are they even going to let Adam Wharton leave? It's going to take a monstrous offer to get him. I think north of 100 million. That's how much it's going to take to get Adam Wharton in. So are Spurs actually going to push the boat out and buy 100 million Adam Wharton?
Well, the only thing I could say is, let's say we do have a good end season, we get in Europe and Palace fall off, and let's say Liverpool and City, and there are other players, Anderson, Baleba, there's big links. If they get go for those players instead of Wharton, Wharton's kind of left out of that conversation, maybe we can swoop in at that point. But that's obviously a lot of things have to go in our favour in the summer. I do think if we put the money on the table and it's accepted in the summer and the other players have found other clubs, maybe he would consider it. But right now, if we're thinking about getting him in January, I just think there's no chance.
We should put in, someone says in the comments, we should put in 50 million plus Brennan Johnson for Adam Wharton.
Test the waters. I mean, that gets rejected, but we can test it.
How much do you reckon that they actually think they're going to get for Adam Wharton? Is anyone going to bid 100 million for him?
That's how much Rice went for.
I know.
So what they would think, why not?
Do you think Rice is at the same level? Adam Wharton's at the same level as when Rice left West Ham?
West Ham? Probably a bit less, but still, he's as important, and he won the FA Cup with them. He's a trophy winner. He's now, how long has he been at Palace? What, 2 years?
Yeah, 2-3 years.
Like, come the summer, 2.5 years of consistent football. The only thing you would say about Wharton is his injury record is not particularly great. So that's obviously a big caveat. But if I'm Palace and you're looking at Brighton demanding 100 million for Belabor in the summer, Rice went for 100 million. Apparently Anderson, they're valuing him at 100 million. Why would he be any different?
And I think he's got, what's his contract saying, Adam Wharton? It's got to be
I'm assuming he's
a
got
fairly long contract. Because that obviously comes into play as well. With Declan Rice, obviously, he was doing it for many years at West Ham. He was the club captain. And he was just Mr. West Ham, wasn't he?
In terms of him being at the level that he was, it was probably 2 years.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not saying he was bad before that, but he wasn't at that level that we saw.
But Wharton hasn't done it anywhere near as consistently as Declan Rice did because of those injuries.
Yeah, but when he's been on the pitch, he barely has a bad game.
Yeah.
If you can keep him fit.
100%. I agree.
And I don't know how old Rice was when he joined Arsenal, but I'm guessing he was a bit older than Wharton is now.
Yeah. So, I mean, Rice was that kind of...
He was, 25? 26 when he joined Arsenal?
Yeah, exactly.
Wharton's still 5 years below. So, if I'm Palace, for sure, I'm demanding 100 million.
Yeah. I think Adam Wharton is that player that, you're hoping to grow into Rice's level. Rice was already at that level, kind of going into the prime years of his career, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think Wharton's well ahead of Rice when he was younger, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. But as we all know, it doesn't always work out like that, If he keeps struggling with injuries, then...
That's fine, but right now, we're talking about right now, how much is he worth? I'm saying they're going to demand 100 million.
I don't think they get it.
Then they'll happily keep him then, I'm sure.
But if he starts pushing for a move, then they might have to take something a bit less.
Yeah, it depends how desperate he is to leave. I don't know. He's 21. I think he's happy there, but maybe, look, there might be a chance he pushes, and then we'll see. But
I reckon he could end up going for something like 70.
If he stays injury-free, I don't see them accepting 70.
We'll see. But either way, I doubt he's coming to Spurs.
No.
All right, let's move on. Leon Goretzka, Yagis Sabaglonku says that Bayern Munich, Leon Goretzka's agent, is in talks with Tottenham over a transfer. However, Stafford Bloor from The Athletic says that Tottenham currently have no interest in Leon Goretzka. And yeah, I'm quite happy about that, to be honest.
I like Goretzka.
I like him as well, but 30 years of age.
He's definitely better than what we have. He's an upgrade.
Yeah.
But he's not exactly the answer to our problems, I would say. Obviously, he gets in ahead of... Look, he probably comes in and becomes our best midfielder, if we're being honest. I think that's probably true.
I think he's someone that's kind of like past his best now. And I prefer to go for someone a bit younger, to be honest. Like, just to sign someone at 30... that's past his best, probably regressing a little bit now. I don't know, man.
Not necessarily.
It doesn't give me excitement.
No, it doesn't excite me either. I think it will be a short-term thing, but this is what everyone's saying. Oh, we need short-term, ready-made players. That would represent that.
I don't think anyone's saying we need short-term, ready-made players.
Yeah,
we
for
need
the here and now, right?
We need players for the here and now and the future.
Yeah.
It's not.
We have the future.
It's not. I'm not. Nobody's saying sign players 30 years plus and get them in the team now to push us on. People are saying buy players in their prime.
But we have
that can play now and for the future.
We have players who are our future sorted. We have players for the future. It's about the here and now. I think Goretzka would represent that. I think he comes in and probably becomes our best midfielder. But in terms of a profile, I don't think he necessarily is what we need. I don't think he's what we need. I wouldn't do it because he's probably going to be on big wages. But I wouldn't say no to maybe a 6-month loan deal.
Yeah, look, if it's a loan deal, fine. But if we're going to sign him on a 3-year deal, then I just, no, not for me. And last but not least, Savinho, Sky Sports Lyle says that Tottenham were interested in Savinho, but it's understood that City want to keep the Brazilian. No surprise there. We reported that a couple of days ago. It looks as though if any winger is going to leave Man City, it is going to be Oscar Bob, and Savinho and Mamouche are going to be sticking around for the second half of the season.
Yeah, which is a shame because I was hoping maybe there was a chance we could get him because he wasn't playing that much. And at City this season, but obviously in recent weeks he's come back into the fold quite a bit. So fair play to Guardiola. He was talking him up yesterday in some of his call on the weekend, saying I love Savinho and just talking him up a lot. So it makes sense. They're going for a title as well. There's no need to rock the boat. They're adding Savinho. Why also get rid of a player who plays on the other side? I would like to test the waters, but it looks as though they've made their minds up, and it makes sense. Like, he's a top talent. There's no need to let him go, really, unless he's kicking up a fuss, which I think was the problem in the summer because he wanted that World Cup spot. And unless that's still the case, yeah, I think he's the kind of player I'm talking about, like that kind of player who can play really good now, but is high potential. Because I just think players in their prime in this position, it's just going to be too hard. Yeah, Ndai's one, but it's going to be difficult to get them in.
Yeah, I guess need to have a look at. It doesn't have to be Premier League. It can also be a player doing well at the right age, in a foreign league. Like, not all foreign players have to be 19 coming in. There must be some players in the foreign leagues that are like 23 plus that are doing very well that Spurs could potentially target.
Yeah, but everyone talks about Premier League proven.
I think proven doesn't have to be Premier League proven.
Sure. I don't mind that, as long as the scouting's good.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a lot of talent in for other leagues. But again, I don't know. For example, I don't know who we're talking about, but if we're talking about a player who's playing for a big club doing well, that's going to be hard. If it's talking about a player who's not playing for a big club, then obviously the question mark come with that. But
yeah, as football meme says, like Akilush, someone like that. You know what I mean?
I'd like Akilush.
All right, well, look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today.